I know I'm telling this story wrong, but I think I'm telling it better.
The way I see something happen is different than the way everyone else sees it happen.
I got discovered really quick. Well, I got discovered before I even started stand-up. I got discovered by Rolling Stone magazine. They call me the #1 party animal in the country. And then I got into stand-up via that. A radio show in Tallahassee was like, you want to do stand-up? We'll give you a shot. And so they put up an open mic night with a bunch of regular comics and me, and I did well. I got offered my own morning show in Tallahassee, and then I decided I'm moving to New York. So I moved to New York, started working the door at a place called the Boston Comedy Club, and 6 months in, Will Smith discovered me. They were like, Will Smith wants to meet you. And I go up, meet him, fucking awesome. I tell him how much I love hip hop and how he's black, and I love black people. And then
he doesn't.
And then he goes, let's go to the movies. And I was like, okay. And so I called my dad.
Whoa.
And I was like, and he's like,
it's on.
He's like, what are you doing tonight? I said, I'm going to the movies with Will Smith. He's like, on a date? I go, no. It's like,
no, it just sounds like that.
It's just, even when he said, let's go to the movies, I just was like, go to the movies? Like, that didn't seem odd. He's like, yeah, Planet Hollywood, me and you. And I was like, oh, this sounds...
Well, Dad, he did tell me to make sure my cummerbund matched his corsage.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 26.
Twinkish still?
I looked beautiful.
Twinkish.
And so my dad's like, buddy, this is called the casting couch. These guys are so famous and they fuck so many beautiful women that the only thing that turns them on is to fuck young boys. Make a straight boy decide to go gay. That's sexy for them. I was like, that's fucking impossible, Dad. And he goes, what's more likely? The fact that you're so talented that Will Smith, the biggest movie star in the world, wants to do a sitcom about you after doing stand-up for only 6 months. Or he's tired of pussy. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting fucked in the ass. Wow. And so I show up. Charlie Mack is there. Charlie Mack was his...
first at the limo.
Yep, for his bodyguard. And he sees me. He's like, yo, dude, you Bert? I said, yeah. And he goes, downstairs. Go downstairs, all black dudes, like 13 black dudes. Whoa. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to fuck these 13 black dudes.
To get to Will?
Charlie Mack, I'm sure he's bringing Jazzy Jeff. That's 15 dudes. And there's all small room as big as this, room. And a folding table in the center. Curtains are all around it. So Will comes in with Jazzy Jeff. I swear to God, they walk in. Will's like, guys, this is the guy I told you about. This is Bert. And they all just start walking towards me. I'm like, all right, I'll suck their dicks.
I'll get to work them all over.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll fucking start like Lucy in the Chocolate Factory. And so then a curtain opens and there's a private movie theater, and we watched American Pie. And at the very end, this is the interesting part. At the very end, we got drunk. And we had fucking dinner and laughed and the big couches and watched it with black people, so they're all talking throughout it. And it's like the funnest thing I've ever been a part of.
That nigga fucking a pie.
Oh shit! He put a dick in his pie. And
he put a dick in a pie and get another laugh off it.
Dick in a pie.
Then they start calling you apple pie all night. Yo, apple pie.
Every time.
Pie, what up?
So
you ever think that maybe Will Smith did fuck you that night, but he used the Men in Black memory eraser thing on you at the end?
Yeah.
So at the very end, he goes, he's like, so what did you think? I goes, and by the way, it's really nerve-wracking to watch a movie when you're going to develop a show with a guy, because I was wondering if he was gauging my sense of humor or trying to read, like, this is what white kids like. I'm with a white kid. Where is he laughing? What is he,
Yeah.
So I was really uncomfortable. The whole fucking movie, I was like, but I had a good time. I laughed. And then he goes, what'd you think? I was like, it's a good movie. I really like it. I think, and he goes, no. What'd you think about the guys? I was like, oh, they're really cool. They're very nice. And he goes, no, man, you said you're a hip-hop star or a hip-hop fan. I was like, yeah. He's like, you're sitting next to Kool Moe Dee. That's Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane. Like, the whole fucking 80s hip-hop roster all-stars came to hang out with me.
And you didn't recognize any of them?
I didn't recognize
all audio. You only heard them.
And, well, they're all black guys. Yeah, audio for one, but they're all
racism, sure.
And they're all black guys. And you ever be on the train with like 20 black guys and you don't make eye contact with anybody? And you're just like, okay, this is my stop. This is my stop.
Actually, me, I stare them all down and see if any one of them's Kool Moe Dee. Sorry, guys, I was going to do a quickie.
I had a notorious reputation at Florida State for being like funny, but being a wild party animal. I remember I used to climb up on this telephone pole outside the bars on Tennessee Street. There would be 500 people out there. And I just stand up and I go, everyone shut the fuck up and listen. If you want to smoke weed, go to my house. And the cops are all sitting there. I have tons of weed, enough for everybody. And we're all going to have a blast and get high. If you know where I live, you're invited. If you don't, ask someone. Just no one tell the fucking cops. And you'd have literally 500 people just giggling at the idea that someone was offering them weed in front of a cop's face. One time for an election, I got naked for this election and just shit on a pizza box and won the election.
Election for what?
For my fraternity, I just got up naked and shit on a pizza box, and then
That's how you won?
And then I won.
Did you wipe?
No, I just shit. I learned one very important lesson. When you go number 2, you also go 1. Because I pissed all over the feet on everyone that was sitting in front of me.
no.
But you can't stop it. When you go 1, you also go 2.
Jesus, dude.
And so I won the election. So like all these stories came out. And then Rolling Stone's like, let's do an article on him. Oliver Stone optioned the rights to my life. And then from the article. And then the development deal falls apart with Oliver Stone. All the guys that have submitted their scripts for Oliver Stone's movie about my life then get their intellectual property back. One of the guys takes his movie, changes my name, sells it to National Lampoon, and it becomes the movie Van Wilder.
Whoa.
So theoretically, and I say this theoretically loosely, I'll never be able to sue. I never would sue. But I went into National Lampoon and I start telling the story just like I am you. One of the guys fucking locks up like, hold on, stop right now. What do you want? What's going on here? Is this like an ambush? But
So
yeah,
they were
That's
worried that you were
awesome.
going to sue them.
they were worried I was going to sue them because we
Well,
could.
that must mean you have a case. Why don't you just go fucking sue those cunts?
By the way, follow up to your story. I was pitching, me and Renazizi and David Taylor were pitching a TV show about 3 years ago to a bunch of networks and a bunch of production companies. And we met with Will Smith and his production company.
Oh, with JL?
Yeah, listen.
Oh, I'm not. I gotta fly tonight. I can't fly and smoke
I
weed.
brought you up just because I thought it would be like a good, like, oh, you know a friend of mine.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you got fine ass Bert Kreischer.
Yeah. He goes, oh, yeah, no, I love Bert Kreischer. I was like, yeah. Because you've told me this before. So I was like, it's funny because he thought this one time his dad used to think that he was
my
like,
God.
you were trying to fuck him. No, I didn't say it like that, but like you were trying to like hook up with him. He probably said it like that. I was probably nervous.
I was always hoping he never heard this story.
Yeah. And he said, hey, man, that was a long time ago.
That's his answer?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I got on my boo-foo out of the
It
way.
wasn't like a what are you talking
early
about
tr-
or a laugh or even like a yeah. It was just,
I
hey,
got on my
man,
dude
that was a
fucking
long
out of the
time
way in the
ago.
early aughts.
Fuck. Are you shitting
I can't believe Will
They
Smith
did
wanted
not make
to
an offer
fuck
for
you.
me and Steve's show.
Me and my buddy Croy got arrested in San Diego one time. It was for open container. That was it. It was really open container, but it was a big party. And Croy said something back to the cop, and we were lit. We were really drunk. And then we got in the car, and Croy decides to light the cop up. Like, just go, let me tell you about who you are.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah, right? We're both handcuffed in the back of a Jeep Cherokee. And he's like, let me tell you who you are. You're the guy in high school, and just starts lighting him up. And I am laughing hysterically. And the cop's looking at him in the rearview mirror and is smiling and nodding his head. He goes, are you done? And Croy goes, yeah, I'm about done. And the guy gets out of the car, goes around to the back. We don't know what he's doing. Comes back, opens Croy's door, and puts a black hood with a lock around his head.
like a hostage.
Like a hostage mask. And it's thick. And all you can hear is Croy just going, I mean, I literally was next to him going, I think you're a cool guy. We get to the police station, and we're sitting there, and finally he takes off the hood, and Croy goes, and I bet you got a little whatchamacallit too. Like, just starts back up. So when I used to work safe escort at Florida State. I used to walk girls across campus.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
that's what I did for a job in college. So one night, it was a Saturday night, I was working, and my buddy Chris Carter was my supervisor, and he's like, hey man, if you got the keys to the car, because we had a car, and the keys to the office, can you just drop them off at my house? I have to be there tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, and he's like, I'm having a party, so feel free to come in and have a drink. And I was like, all right. So I smoke a little weed. I was driving my sister's blue convertible Ford Mustang. I put in some fish back then, put my hair in a ponytail, and I head over to Chris Carter's, right? So I pull up, and it's a massive fucking party. I mean, I went to school at Florida State, and I knew a lot of people in college, but I don't know one person at this party. I pull in this Ford and this convertible, and I can't even find a spot to park, and I'm bumping into people like with my car to get through the party, and people are getting pissed, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll come back tomorrow. I'm not gonna deal with it. So I pull out of the party. It takes me forever to get out of the party. And it's in one of those big complexes. And I pull around to the other side. And on the other side is an equally big party, except it's for FAMU. It's all black, right? So I pull, and I'm like, shit. This is, by the way, this is 1994, 93, 4. This is right around the time with the Rodney King and Reginald Denny. And race relations in the South aren't awesome. And by the way, it's Tallahassee. It's a segregated city, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I pull in, and I'm thinking, fuck. I can't get back. I can't turn around and get back out. I'm gonna have to go through this party, and it's fucking it's equally as big. And I'm bumping into people, and I can see people like fucking Jesus Christ. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like. And I get into the dead center of the party, and the car in front of me stops. Doors open, and they disappear. And now I'm sitting in there in a convertible, listening to Fish. I'm high. I'm starting to get like panic. You know how you get high and start overthinking things. And a black guy just starts staring at me, like, and I can feel him staring at me. And I'm like, not even looking, just looking straight ahead. And he's like, hey, white boy, you scared? And I don't say anything. I don't even reply to him. And he goes, white boy, I'm talking to you. Look at me when I speak to you. And I kind of look over, and he goes, oh, you are scared, aren't you? And I'm thinking, I'm about to get knocked the fuck out. And I'm like, no, I'm not scared at all. And he leans on my car, like right where the window is, leans on it. He goes, well, tell me if you're scared now, motherfucker. And he leans into my car, hits the brights, hits the horn, and his best white voice goes, move it, niggers! And he disappears into the crowd. Everyone turns around, and I'm like, no, I didn't say it. Guy grabs me, starts to pull me out of my car. My car starts rolling forward, and the dude shows up. He goes, I'm fucking around. I said it. And they were like, what? And they put me back in my car. I'm shaking. And the guy goes, looks like you could use a beer. I put my car in park. I leave it running. I walk into the house with the guy, fucking murdered 2 beers. I'm like, oh. And he's telling everyone at the party. I think it would be a great story for stage, but in order to do it, I have to say the N-word, you know. Niggers!
Wow. Yeah.
We had one kid in our neighborhood. Definitely won't say this guy's fucking name. The one kid you knew was weird, but you didn't know like how to like. Everyone would be like, "Who wants to go ride bikes?" And he's like, "Who dares me to go in the woods and put a stick in my ass?" Like that kind of kid,
Right?
Just crazy. One night he had the keys to this chick that lived in our neighborhood. He had the keys to her house because his parents were watching their house, and he's like, "Hey, you want to go in her house and get weird?" And I was like, "They're not here." He's like, "I know. Come on, I'll be fucking crazy. I go in there and I cut the pussies out of their underwear." And I was like, ugh. So my sister calls me like 6 months ago. She's like, "You remember John?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "He's in jail." I go, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah, he was working for Circuit City when they were going out of business, and he stole one of their trucks filled with a bunch of equipment." And I was like, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah." And they arrested him, and then they fingerprinted him and found out he had been killing chicks down by the causeway.
Wow.
I was like, if you fucking said serial killer to me, I would have been like, if I was the guy next door, I'd be like, I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Whoa.
I saw that coming.
Wow. Holy shit. How many girls did he kill?
I have no idea, but I was like, and I've looked for it online. I can't find it online.
So yeah, my dad flew with Joey.
No.
Really?
So my dad gets off the plane and he goes, I said, "How was the flight?" And he goes, "It was great. I was looking at Joey. Joey was out the whole fucking flight. He slept." I said, "What about your flight?" And he goes, "I sat next to a goddamn moron." And I said, "Really?" He was a fucking moron. I didn't tell you this? He goes, "I slept next to a fucking moron. I'm a moron, Bert. Guy's ripped with muscles, but the dumbest human being I could ever sit next to." I said, "Why?" And he goes, 5 hours he played Candy Crush. He's a grown man in first class. And for 5 hours he played Candy Crush. I mean, you'd think he'd have a thought that he'd write down or want to lift up a paper, but for 5 hours he played fucking Candy Crush. And Joey Diaz comes out around the corner of the airport and goes, "Dog, your dad sat next to John Cena."
Oh my
And I was like, "Are you serious?" Joey's like, "He played Candy Crush the whole fucking flight."
Oh my, poor John Cena plays Candy Crush. He just got outed.
For fucking 5 hours.
I've done it.
I sang at the Braves game yesterday. Did the 7th inning stretch, and I sit up on the dugout. Now I sang last year, right after the first season of Birth Conqueror, and no one knew.
You sang the national anthem?
No. The 7th inning stretch. Take me out to the ball game.
Oh, okay.
So I get up on the thing. Last year when I did it, my kids were there, my wife was there, her whole family was there, and I got up and everyone just looked at me like, "Who the fuck's this guy?"
Right.
Yesterday when I did it,
The whole side knew who I was, and I'm telling you, so many people were yelling, "The machine!"
Wow.
It's so fucking bizarre, right? Cut to, you're talking about every show I do. Every show I do, not only do people give me joints and go, "This is a present for the machine." Some chick gave me 3 Vicodin and was like, "I thought the machine would like these." I was like,
Holy
"Are you
shit.
fucking kidding me?" Last night, the most buckled down people in the front row. It's a guy and a girl, just really like Range Rover, Buckhead type of people, you know? And she says, I said something, and she goes, someone yells, "A machine!" And I said, "I'll tell that story." And she said, "Powerful Bert Kreischer." I went, "Are you fucking kidding me? Powerful Bert Kreischer!" And I just talked to you on the phone. I just talked to you on the phone, and you had just said something like,
Powerful Bert Kreischer.
And I went, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
How great was Dipping? Remember that?
It is the greatest buzz in the world.
Especially that first one. These right here, just be full of brown water.
Working with Jay Moore and Walter Gauze, and I decide I'm going to stay the night. They decide they're going to drive over the night. I'm going to fly home in the morning. We get done this Sunday show. They get in the car. I'm heading over to the bar, and I get a call from Walter, and he goes, "Jay would like to talk to you." And I go, "Well, what's going on?" And he goes, "If you ever spit in a cup in my car, take it with you out of the car and don't leave it in the fucking console." He goes back to Walter. Walter's dying laughing. "Jay just took a big swig of your dick spit."
Gene Simmons came to our New Year's show.
Really?
Yeah. And
He's a dick.
He was a great.
Fucking hate him.
He was bad to you?
Oh, he's a fucking cunt to me.
Really?
Really bad.
What
Like
happened?
top 10, top 5 worst experiences with a celebrity.
Holy shit. What happened?
We were doing the X show, and we were going to interview him, and I told the producers, I was like, "I fucking am the biggest Kiss fan." I grew up. Like any Halloween from the first 10 years of my life, I was one of the fucking guys from Kiss. Fucking talent show. I dressed up in my mom's leotard, her gayest belt possible, 2 bike chains and a Kiss thing, and just jammed out to party all night long. Just
Right.
for fucking 3 minutes, just jammed out, like air guitared it. Fucking loved Kiss. Literally loved Kiss. And
So what happened?
And so then I tell them that, and they go, "Great. We'll set up the interview. This is going to be a fucking cakewalk." The only other time I did that to the show was when Slash was there. So I was like, I love fucking Slash. And I got along great with Slash. We ended up drinking in my fucking whatchamacallit. So then he shows up.
Drinking in my fucking whatchamacallit.
In my green room. So my dressing room. So fucking Gene Simmons shows up, and I go up to, he's in the room. I got to do the pre-interview, so I go to his dressing room. I knock on the door, and they open it. And I said, "Mr. Simmons, my name's Bert. I'm the host of the show. I'll be doing the interview." And he just puts his finger in front of my face, and he goes, "No." And I went, "What?" And he goes, "Not now." And he shut the door in my face. I went, "Okay." I go, "Clearly it's early in the morning. Maybe he's not a morning guy. That's fine. I'm going to give him his time to have his coffee or whatever. And then before I go out on stage, I'll do my pre-interview while he's going through makeup." So he's doing his makeup, and I come in, and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. Come in, and I go, "Mr. Simmons, my name's Bert. I'll be doing the interview." And he goes, "Didn't I tell you not to speak?" And I went, "Okay." And then he looked at someone, and he goes, "Is he interviewing me? I don't want him to interview me." And I went, "Oh, fuck. Like, what did I do?" So then I leave, and then Mark Cronin comes in, and he goes, "Listen, Gene doesn't want a guy to interview him. He wants Daphne, the girl. He wants Daphne to interview him." I go, "Daphne doesn't know shit about Kiss." I go, "This is my hero. I can't be on." And he goes, "I'll tell you what. I will let you can be on the couch, and you can just kind of hang out in the interview, and you can jump in as much as possible. But Daphne's going to run the interview. Gene would rather Daphne run it." And I went, "Okay." So I go out, I sit on the couch, I don't say a word. Now I'm being respectful. I'm like, all right, clearly whatever it is, maybe at the end I can just tell him what a big fan of Kiss I am. So I sit on the couch, Daphne does the interview, I jump in here and there. It's totally comfortable, totally cool. We cut for commercial, and everyone that works on the show has headsets on. And we're mic'd, we can hear everyone. And Daphne says, Gene, the reason Bert's out here is he was the biggest Kiss fan growing up. And Gene goes, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah, he dressed as you for Halloween." And I go, "Yeah, as a matter of fact," and he looks at me, he goes, "Shut up, I'm talking to her." And I went, "But you're talking about me." And he goes, turn around. And I went, now I go to turn around, and I see everyone that's working on the floor of the X show literally turn, because they're all headsets in. They turn and look as I'm turning around. They're like, "Oh my God." So I turn around, and Daphne's just like appalled. And then all of a sudden, Cronin comes out of the room, and he goes, "You know what? I think we got it all in the first one." And Gene's like, "I need to talk about my doll that I'm selling." And He's like, yeah, we'll bring it up later. And he goes, but I have a lot of products I'm trying to sell. He's like, we got it. Thank you, Mr. Simmons. And Gene gets up and leaves. And I was like, what a fucking cunt.
I got beaten up one time. This guy on the baseball team, Freddie Rosella. I'll say his name. I don't give a shit.
Fuck that dude.
He's still a beast. He was a beast when we were all fucking like children. He had like ball hair. Like he was a monster, and his arms were huge. And he was the captain of our baseball team. And I was like junior, sophomore. And I was making a joke, and he said, "Kreischer, shut your face." So I went as a joke, and then he did not get that. And then he went to go fight me, and then I was like, but then they broke it up.
Wow.
So then we get done. He goes into the dugout, and I'm playing catch with my buddies, Joe and Troy and Dean, and warming up. And we see him walking out, and we're walking in. They're like, oh, Freddie gets upset sometimes, but he's just coming to apologize. You look, he's got a bat. He's probably heading off to the batting practice, and he's just going to say he's sorry. So I was like, okay, don't worry, I got this one. So I have a glove in hand, ball in the other hand. I'm like, hey, Freddie. And then he just, with the baseball bat, just starts beating the shit out of me. And like my three friends got on, and they couldn't pull this guy off of me. And I never let go of the ball. And I'm just like, ah. And then, and then of course I just go to crying because I was still like a young boy. And then he beat me up, and then the coach was in there and then we both played left field together. So I had to go out and sit in left field with him after that.
Whoa.
He came to see me at the Tampa Improv.
Whoa.
Recently.
Are you serious?
And me and him probably never talked about it. We were cool after that. Like, I mean, we were like, we played on the same team for a year after that. But he came to the Tampa Improv. He's like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And but I'm still like gun shy.
Right. So you were working at Barnes and Noble?
Working out. Yeah,
working out.
Oh, this is bad.
Like you do sets at Barnes and Noble?
I was working at Barnes and Noble and then working out during the day in the basement. Like I got fired from Barnes and Noble. This is the worst. I was working at Barnes and Noble in Astor Place, no fucking AC. And so every day you ever have a job where you lift boxes, and as you do, you're like, that's a good buy workout. And you're like, oh, all right, I'll do a little bit of this. And if I do this all day long, I'm fucking jacked buys by the end of the summer. So I'd go down to the basement, and you could take the freight elevator. I'm going to sound like a psycho in 5 minutes. You could take the freight elevator to the basement, and no one could get down there because you had the elevator. And so once I got to the basement, I'd take off my clothes and start working out. And just like do push-ups, sit-ups, fucking curls with boxes, hold books out and do these fucking jobs, front rows, and I'd work out. And then there was no AC, so then I'd wait till I cooled down, put all my clothes back on, get in the freight elevator, walk up, and I just killed like 30 minutes. And when you have a job like that, to kill 30 minutes it's like fucking, God, I'm that much closer to being done.
Right.
So I'm like, and I'm eating Rip Fuel. Do you remember Rip Fuel?
Yeah.
I'm popping fucking 3 Rip Fuels every 3 hours, right?
Oh my God.
I'm like a tweaker running around, shelving travel books, going down to the basement, pounding like I'm in fucking Oz, just and then come up sweating like a motherfucker with a name tag on, and so like 2 weeks into it, my boss Dwayne pulls me aside and he was like, hey man, you've been spending a lot of time in the basement. And I was like, oh yeah, because I gotta get travel books, and that's where we keep them all down there. And he's like, yeah, do you know we have video cameras? Oh my god. And I was like, I didn't know that. And he's like, you're fucking fired. I can't have someone getting into their underwear in the basement, working out when they should be working, and then coming back up, and then interacting with people. And I was trying to be a comic, so I was trying to think alternatively, and I'm on speed. Fucking.
So the first time I put on a condom, I unrolled it thinking that's how you put on a condom. I never put on a condom before. I'm 17 years old. I go to slide it on, and when I push it over, air's trapped in the side of it. And as I push, it just inflates. And I'm like trying to squeeze the air out of it like I'm making balloon animals.
Yep.
And so I fucking ruined that condom. That's the first time I tried to put a condom on. So I go out to Jeff Hartley. He's in the living room. We're watching Pet Sematary. He's with his girl. So I go over and I go, hey man, I need that other condom. And he's like, you already did it? And I go, it's long story, it was broken. And he was like, all right. So I grab it. And then words like reservoir tip, pinch the reservoir tip make sense to me. I go, oh yeah. Roll it over. I get on top of her, real time. One. Done.
That's right.
Done.
One pump?
Right.
One
That's
pump.
Right. That's
I'm
right.
done.
Oh, wow.
Done.
17? Of course.
Caught me so off
Not
guard.
me, man.
Really?
She looked at me dead serious, looks at my look on my face and goes, are you going to put it in? I missed her vagina. I fucked between her butt cheek and the bed and came. I didn't even fuck a person.
Oh, no.
I fucked a mattress
fine, you came.
And then I had to fuck her with a compromised condom.
Yeah, you have to
with a
pretend.
compromise. It was like going on a hike going, hey, why don't you get those dry socks and shoes, jump in the river real quick, we'll go for a hike.
Yeah.
I got pickpocketed in Florence, and I went into Russian. Every word I knew in Russian, I yelled at the guy, and he ran.
Because he was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
He's like, Russians are fucking
You
animals.
should have yelled out, America, you fucking traitor.
Text messages I have with my friends are so funny. I remember being at a Rockies game, a Colorado Rockies game, and I texted them something. I was like, having a cold beer, you boys. And then Joe was like, Joe said something about, how long do you think you could quit drinking? And then I just go, name it. And then Tom goes, oh shit. And then Ari's like, guys, I'm just catching up to this. What are we talking about? And Joe's like, name it? And I go, name it. And he goes, 90 days. And I wrote back, easy peasy. And all I heard was easy peasy, question mark, easy peasy, question mark, easy peasy. And that's how we got into Sober October. It's just a fucking funny text thread of us talking about my drinking and how long I could quit drinking. And then the best part, this is the best part of all of it, is we do the podcast, and it gets a little serious at points because I talk about how much I really drink, and Joe's concerned, and Tom is like, he goes, how many drinks do you have a night? And I go, like maybe 9. And Joe goes, you have 9 drinks a night? And Tom goes, Joe, they're doubles. And Joe's like, you have 8 drinks a night? So we decided to do Sober October, and Joe says, I'm not gonna do it. And we're like, what? This is before it starts. He goes, yeah, I'm not gonna quit smoking pot for a month. I'll quit drinking, but I'm not gonna quit smoking pot. And then Ari texts me and Tom privately. He goes, I'm planning an attack on Joe. I need your 100% commitment that you will help me pull this attack off. I need your comments ready to be posted. I'm posting on Instagram in 10 minutes. Please send me, this is what I'll be posting, send me your comments. We send the comments back, and we didn't like Tom's fucking bitch-ass comment. It's like, Joe's the most powerful man around. We're like, no, Tommy, that doesn't work. So we rewrite Tom's and send it to him, and we're like, this is what you're putting. And we said, Joe can't quit marijuana. He's one of our best friends. He plays this character of a strong, willful man. I need everyone in this time of need to pray for Joe. And so we each put hashtag pray for Joe. Post it, and then all of us are just sitting by our phones waiting for Joe, and then I hear, you motherfuckers, and it comes back, I'm in. Dude,
when we did Birth Conquer, we went catfish grabblin, where you put your hand in a hole and fucking catch a fish.
It's called noodling, right?
Noodling, catfish grabblin, dogging, whatever redneck place you're in, they have a different fucking name for it.
Grabblin.
Grabblin. Scary as shit.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, yeah, because you're doing it with rednecks who you never think they thought the whole plan through.
Right.
And the guy's like, goes, just go on and shove your old hand back in yonder and wave it yonder, and you're going to feel a nibble. Now, when you feel a nibble, you better hope that there's a catfish and not an alligator or a snapping turtle or a beaver. I was like, there could be an alligator in there? And he's like, there could be. I was like, how would we put something other than my fucking hand in there?
Oh my God.
Something that we don't want. I want my hand. And then he's like, don't be a pussy, boy.
Oh my God.
Man, let me tell you something. When that fish bites on, God, you feel like a fucking warrior. Like it.
Do you?
Oh, cause it's go time. Like I'm waving it. It's like Flash Gordon. Like you got your hand in a hole and you're underwater and you're waving your arm back in a hole and you can hear it thump. It thumps when it starts rolling. Like it goes boom, and you're like, and you can hear it underwater, right? Because it's a fucking 50-pound catfish.
Oh my God!
And then all of a sudden he goes, "You're gonna feel a nibble." I was like, "Yeah." Fuck, a car door slamming on my hand, just bam, and I pull a 50-pound catfish out of a 20-pound hole. It's like pulling a kindergartner out of a hole. Just like, what the fuck is this? It's massive. And then I panicked. I just dropped it. I go, get it the fuck away from me. and then they go, what the fuck is you doing? Get up on it. I was like, I have no fucking idea how to get up on it. And so the catfish, I throw it, and it, because I became a pussy, and it went over to the dock, and it started swimming up the boat ramp. So I just run and just jumped on it like a fumble, landed on the catfish, and just like all my body weight, grabbed it. Then I was a fucking liberal bitch.
Liberal bitch?
Yeah, because they were like, I'm all excited and I'm jazzed. I'm talking to the other redneck and I'm like, man, that was fucking so intense. Like, that's so crazy. Like, what fucking makes it bite my hand? And he goes, well, she's protecting her babies. And I was like, what?
He's like, there's babies in that hole. That's why she's protecting her babies. And I went, I just pulled a fucking mom away from her kids. And I started thinking, like, what if someone just lifted my wife away from my children and they were just sitting in a hole going, does anyone know how to make a grilled cheese? Like, just fucking panicking.
You're a dick, Bert Kreischer.
So then I get down on the thing, and we're trying to run water through its gills. I'm just pushing it back and forth, like I'm fucking it, just.
So that's how you keep it alive.
Keep it alive, and then I just let it go, and it just went. And he goes, "What the fuck did you do?" I was like, "She got away. I didn't mean for it to happen."
It all starts with this girl giving me the clap. I dated her for 5 years. She was my girlfriend. She slept with my best friend, and then she gave me the clap. I remember going to the doctor, and he was like, yo, she's a hoe. And I was like, what? By the way, this is when you thought doctors were like older. He's probably just 27 years old.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a kid. Dude. And he's like, she's a whore, man. And he said, I go, no, you got that wrong. He goes, let me ask you a question. When you go to a bar, do you and your junk split up to cover more territory? And I was like, excuse me? And he goes, do you? And I said, no. And he goes, then I'm telling you right now, if you're telling me you haven't slept with anyone else, just her, she gave it to you. She's a whore. She's sleeping around. That's how you get it. You just sleep around.
Yeah.
Oh
and I was like, that's impossible. I want the test. And he was like, I can just give you the medicine. You don't need the test. And I went, no, I don't. I must not have it. She's not a whore. And he's like, all right, I'll give you the test. Q-tip.
Yep. Yes.
I remember saying, brace yourself. And I held on to the thing, and he did it, and I was like, she's a whore. She's a whore. And then I went to her, and I confronted her. And I said, yo, I have the clap. You gave it to me. And she's like, no, that's impossible. And then I said what the doctor said. Let me tell you something. When I go to the bar, me and my junk don't split up to cover more territory, okay? But if that girl hadn't done that, because I told that girl I wanted to be a comedian. I laid in bed the morning of the Miami-Florida State game, and I said, I think I want to be a comedian. Because right after Russia, I'd gone to Europe, and I backpacked, and I ran into a group called The State. I ran into them in Greece. Yeah. We all partied in Greece, and I met them, and I said, how do I get into comedy? And David Wayne said, just write all the time, write down jokes. Anything funny, write it down. And that whole summer, I said, I was funny traveling. Everyone liked me. Thought I could make people laugh. And I was like, I'm going to be a comedian. Came home, first week back, have sex with her, laying in bed, Florida State, Miami game. I say, I think I want to be a comedian. And she was an actress, still is. And she was like...
not somebody we would know, is it?
No.
Okay. Regional theater, stuff like that?
Yeah. And so
that's what we're calling porn these days.
And she said, she goes, oh, honey, you're stupid funny. You're not smart funny. To be a comedian, you have to be smart funny, and you're stupid funny.
Wow.
So don't, you cannot.
And this is from the whore.
This is from the whore. Oh. And so I was like, oh, okay. Never tell anyone your dreams. I get the clap. I then break up with her over the period of you know how those breakups go over 6 months. Yeah. And then I start dating this girl who's, by the way, I love her, but just an oblivious idiot. Yeah. Like I told her I wanted to be a comedian. She's like, you should do it. Like just invest everything in it. Why wouldn't you? Right? Oh my God. And I just ran into her last week in wherever I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she was like. She's like, I'm so happy you followed your dreams. And I was like, I am so glad you did not see the pitfalls in life that everyone else sees. Yeah. Like, she was just like, do it. Why wouldn't you? I think I want to be a shot girl. And I was like,
dream big.
Oh, she went to New York to be a model. And, she's attractive, but she's not like a model.
Yeah.
But I remember
not a New York model.
And she just walked in and she's like, I want to be a model. And I was like, man, I wish everyone had more of that.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for that girl to just give me blind confidence.
Yeah.
That I don't think. I mean, by the way, my first whole year of stand-up, I did not know. I was just doing all the jokes like Angry Sanchez, or I didn't have comedy. I wasn't doing comedy.
The Stratosphere really fucked my head up.
That's the one in Vegas?
Oh, man, I was bad the night before. I was throwing up in a bathtub and called my wife and told her I was running to the desert. It's controlled descent. So they hook you in on a 7-point harness and with basically a big fishing reel. And so you jump and you fall, and that tether makes sure you don't run into the building or swing out. It basically keeps you in one kind of area so you can land on the target.
Yeah, but what if it gets windy? I mean,
it was very windy my day. As a matter of fact, I told the man. My wife's like, just tell the producers you can't do it, and just be a man about it. So I called this guy Dan Adler that morning, and I was like, and I hadn't slept, and I'd been drinking, and it was a bad scene. I was a wreck. I was a real fucking wreck. And I was like, dude, I can't do it. It's not going to happen today. And he was like, that's fine. That's totally cool. I get that. But here's the deal. If you're not going to do it, I need you to not do it on the edge of the building. Like, I need you to get all the way to that moment and then back off. Wow. And I was like, and he goes, and you do not have to do it. But I can make a show out of that. I can't make a show if you just go, I'm not doing it. So I was like, okay. So I went through the whole thing, did the training, got the jumpsuit on, did all my interviews, got up to the top, started doing my reads. And my cameraman, this guy, Scott Sands, is hanging off the building, literally tethered in and hanging off the building with a camera. Fearless motherfucker. This guy fucking loves that shit. And he's taping my reads, and I'm on the edge, and I'm fucking I've pissed my pants a little bit at this moment. Like, it's just bad. It's a bad scene. And Scott starts laughing, and I go, what? And he's like, there's like 400 people at the bottom waiting for you to jump. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, there's like 200 behind you right now. He goes, dude, it's going to be much easier to jump than to tell 600 people and the mayor who's waiting for you with a shot of tequila that you're not jumping. So I was the first person to do
The mayor was waiting for you with a shot of tequila?
I was the first person to jump on the ride. I was the first guy to do it. So I was like, shit. And he was like, I just jumped, man. It's 16 seconds. And then it'll be over.
16 seconds is so long.
My producer, Lonnie, is like in the background with my script going like, I need you to say, I'm here in Las Vegas on the top of the strip. This, like, and I'm like, and I just start going, fuck you, Lonnie, fuck you. You can fuck yourself. I'm fucking jumping right now. And she's like, Bert, don't jump. And I'm like, fuck everyone, I'm fucking jumping. And now I know they can't use any of that because you can't use cursing.
Right.
And so then I'm like, and then I'm calm down. I'm like, okay, seriously, I'm going to jump. Okay, and they just use that, me jumping. So then we do it. I land, I have a religious moment, I start crying, I take a shot, and I'm just like, I'm alive. There's no better feeling in the world than surviving a fucking 110-story jump. 110 stories.
Fuck, dude.
So then, like 2 weeks later, they're like, listen, we didn't get any of your fucking reads. I was like, what? And they're like, we didn't get any of your reads, we need to send you back to Vegas to like do pickups. Because there's a lot of shit because you were so fucked up that we didn't get. So I was like, okay. So we have to reshoot the episode, but we're just basically...
Everything but the jump.
Everything but the jump is what they're telling me. So then we get up to the top.
I know where this is going.
So I get up to the top, and I know I'm not jumping. And then I get up to the top, and I realize, standing on the edge, it's easier to jump than to walk away from it. So I was like, fuck it. And I just jumped again, had the same religious moment. You get down to the bottom. It's not religious. It's like a spiritual awakening where you're like, I'm fucking alive. I'm going to hug my kids. Like, oh.
I was in a band in college, and it was called Giving Out Spankins, and I was the front man, and it was me, John Dacre, Brent Bracken, and Ben Carter. And one of our fraternity brothers wanted to join in, and he was really good. Like, so good that you, like, immediately, you're in a band, you ever have someone so good, you're like, oh, he's going to realize how bad I am.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I kicked him out. And he was like, I'm the best guy in the band. And I was like, yeah, and that's why we don't want you anymore, because me and the bassist won a band, and if you're here, you're going to realiage you can get someone better. He's like, I'm going to start a band 10 times better than yours. And I was like, good luck.
Go ahead.
He started a band called Creed.
Oh, no way, Mark?
Mark Tremonti, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And by the way, if you ask him about it, he'll deny it. He goes, I don't know Bert Kreischer. By the way, in my fraternity, I gave him his nickname, and I think he still holds like a bone with it.
Dude, I was in Metallica once, but if you ask any of those dudes, they're going to deny it too.
Like, I pissed on my ex-girlfriend's dining room table and was walked in by her dad. Dude, you want to talk about a fucking nightmare? Oh my God. We go out in Orlando. This is right after Thanksgiving when everyone's home. So everyone I know from Orlando is at every bar, all on like Church Street, I think is the name of the street. So we go out and it's fucking chaos. I'm with my girlfriend, her sister, and her sister's boyfriend, who was the coolest fucking guy, and he always had weed. So we go out and everyone's buying me shots. We're getting fucking hammered. Her parents had just bought a house. Just bought this brand new house. We go back to her house, and I'm like, I'm not fucking done. Like, I want to keep drinking. And this guy, Danny's like, oh, yeah, me too. So we get like a 12-pack of beer, and we go out to the dock, and that's all I remember. Danny then, the next morning, recounts everything to me. Because she walks in the first thing in the morning. She's like, did you piss on my dining room table? And I'm like, no, why would I fucking do that? I'm a grown man. I don't piss on tables. She's like, my dad said he caught you pissing on our table. I'm like, your dad is crazy. He doesn't like me because I'm the party animal, and he's trying to get me out of your life. That's what's fucking going on. And you can get out of the fucking room if you're going to blame me on shit.
Say, I'm the party animal?
I'm sure. I'm sure. In those,
I'm Bert. I'm the
party animal.
I'm the party animal.
Do you know who the fuck you're talking to right now?
He wants me out of your life.
I'm the number one party animal in the country. But something to the... Yeah, I'm sure I actually use those words. So anyways... She goes out to the
the breakfast table where her family is.
Oh my god!
And
how much piss are we talking about here?
In my head, it didn't happen. Danny, the boyfriend, comes in and comes in and his eyes are like so excited. He goes, "Heard you pissed on their table."
Oh no!
And I'm like, "No, why is everyone fucking saying that?" And he's like, "Because her dad walked in on you pissing on the table." And I said, "He's fucking lying." He goes, "Man, he is pretty set in that he saw you pissing on their dining room table." And I go, "Danny, I don't remember fucking anything." He goes, "Well, we got these beers. We went out to their dock. Do you remember that?" And I go, "Yes." And he's like, "And I had a joint." And I go, "Okay, I remember that." And he's like, "And then you ate the joint." And I was like, "I don't remember that." And he goes, "Yeah, I said, hold this, and you ate it and laughed. And then we killed all the beers out there." And I go, "Fuck, we did?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then you start piecing back like little things. I go, "Did we get stuck in a phone booth last night?" And he's like, "No, we got locked in their food cabinet, like in their food closet."
Like a pantry?
In their pantry, because we were eating in their kitchen, and this I start to remember. I go, "Yeah."
So
the girlfriends come out. The girlfriends come out. No, it was a sliding door. So we were eating, and the girlfriends came out, the sisters, and they go, "You're fucking making a ton of noise." So me and Danny went into the pantry and shut the door, but then we couldn't figure out how to open it because there wasn't a handle.
So you guys were hammered, and you
inside a pantry,
and they shoved you in the pantry to quiet you down.
We shoved ourselves into the pantry so that we could continue eating. We're like, "We're going to bed." They left. We went to the pantry, shut the door, and then I remember sitting in the pantry. I do remember this distinctly, is us being in the pantry, thinking we were in a phone booth, laughing how hard they had all this food in this phone booth. And we're like, "Can you believe this phone booth has fucking Doritos in it?" So then, that's all I remember. So then, he says to me, he goes, "There, man, he's really adamant." So he leaves. I lay back down, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm being framed for this shit. All of a sudden, I start. You ever have one of those where you remember the dream you had last night? And I distinctly remember seeing her dad in his underwear in my dream.
What?
And I'm like, wait, I did have a dream about her dad in his underwear. That's odd.
Whoa.
And then I was like, but he was in here yelling at me. And then I start going, oh shit, this totally did happen. I woke up in the middle of the night, walked out to their dining room table, erect, and tried to go to the bathroom. You know how you kind of try to lean it down? So I must have been making a ton of noise at their dining room table, pissed on their dining room table. So I'm leaning forward over their dining room table trying to piss, making a ton of noise, knocking everything off of it. He comes out in his tighty whities. I remember that because she came back in and I go, "Does your dad wear tighty whities?" And she goes, "He does." "Why?" And I went, "Never mind." Oh, I mean, you can't dream. Like, no one wears. Oh, so anyway.
How old were you at the
I dream about tidy whities all the time.
20s. Let's say 26, 25.
Oh my God.
So here's the worst part. He yells at me and he goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I said, "I'm going to bed." And he said, "Where's your bed?" And I point to the dining room table. I go, "Right here." And he goes, "What?" So I David Blaine the tablecloth, pull it, lay on the bed, on top of their table.
After you pissed on it?
In my own piss, in a Superman cape full of piss, just curtain myself up to the neck, go back to sleep, and he gets me up and walks me into my bed and puts me back in my bed. And I'm like,
what a nice guy.
He's
though,
a really
for doing
nice.
that.
Larry Maddock is a saint. Because if that happened to one of my daughters in my house, I would have beat the
shit.
fucking kid's ass.
Would you really, man?
No.
Do it like that again, though.
I would beat the fucking kid's ass.
I like that. I like the passion in your voice. Have you ever considered acting?
Maybe.
I'm in Amsterdam with like 5 friends, and of course we do the rounds in Amsterdam and get fucking lit up. We walk by this live sex show, and it says on the billboard, guy on girl, girl on girl, oral sex, this, and then the last one is flying dildos. Come see flying dildos. And so I'm like, fucking, I tell everyone, we're seeing flying dildos. I want to see fucking flying dildos. That, to me, is a showstopper. That is something that I will buy tickets for everyone for. So I buy us all tickets. We go in to see a live sex show. Have you ever seen one?
No.
It's basically like half a boxing ring. So it's like you walk in and it's stadium seating and then half a boxing ring where they just, without the ropes, and everything happens right there.
They just fuck.
So we sit down and they're like, and they come out and they're like, the first is girl on girl. This is just like you'd see a porn, right? So 2 girls come out and they're like, they go to eat, and the second 2 girls come out, I start going, flying dildos, and they're like, no, we're not flying dildos. I go, oh. Now 20 guys are like, whoa, I want to see flying dildos too. So they do their thing, they leave. A girl comes out by herself, masturbation, and I go, flying dildos? And she goes, no, I'm not flying dildos. Everyone that came to the stage, I just yelled, flying dildos!
How many people came to the stage?
Fucking like 9 acts. 9 acts come to the stage, and we get to the guy fucking the girl, and I'm like, you better be fucking flying dildos. And the guy's like, we're not flying dildos, okay? Stop with the fucking flying dildos. And I'm like, boo, the whole time they're fucking.
You're booing while they're fucking?
Yeah, but now we got 20 dudes, and they're all on my team because we're fucking hammered. And I'm like, boo, we want flying dildos, right? So then all of a sudden, after the dude give a fuck, a lady comes out with a doctor's little briefcase, the doctor's thing bag, and just walks up on stage. I go, you better be fucking flying dildos. She goes, ladies and gentlemen, I am flying dildos. And the fucking place goes nuts. 20 dudes. It's like fucking right out of the military kind of like, come on, flying dildos. She goes, I'm going to need someone from the audience. And everyone's like, fucking flying dildos. So I'm like, fucking, I am definitely going up there.
Of course you did.
So I get up there, and everyone's chanting, flying dildos, flying dildos. I got my hands up, and she goes, okay, hands behind back. And I put my hands behind my back, and she handcuffs me. And everyone's like, flying dildo. Like, everyone's going fucking nuts. She drops my pants, cuts my shirts with the scissors, throws me on the back, puts a dildo in my mouth, and just fucks it, and then stands up. She goes, that was flying dildos. And she leaves me with a dildo in my mouth, naked, going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Everyone's taking pictures, like fucking snap right up to I had handcuffs on. I couldn't fucking move. And just snap, 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 snap. And I'm just like, help me, somebody help me, get the dildo out of my mouth. It was a fucking nightmare. So
do you have a photo of this?
This was in 90, this is right after the Russian mob thing. So there was no digital cameras.
Joey slipped my dad marijuana. Have you heard this story?
Yes, you told.
Yes.
No.
Joey comes to Easter one year, and he's got fucking edible popcorn, and he goes, yo, Mr. K, you want to see the devil's dick tonight? And my dad's like, what's that, Joey?
That's so aggressive, Joey.
Yeah, and my dad just takes a handful of popcorn.
Did he know what it was?
I had no idea. There's a picture. I don't know where. You can find it if you look online. It's on my Facebook, my personal one. There's a picture of Joey giving the popcorn to my dad. It's 4 pictures. My dad eating it. They're all connected like you're in a booth. My sister's going, what the fuck? And then me laughing hysterically. And then I was forced to eat marijuana with my dad because my dad's like, buddy, what do I do? And I was like, I'll go in with you. And so I ate it, and I don't like eating marijuana, but we had the greatest fucking night of our lives.
It didn't get weird?
We're sitting out. It's like probably 7 o'clock. We're still very high, having a cigar, having a whiskey. And I say to my dad, I said to my dad, why don't you like me? Because I'm high, I'm comfortable. And he goes, I don't know. I was wondering about that. And he goes, you remind me of my dad. And I said, okay. Wow. And he lost his dad when he was 13. And it really fucked him up. It really fucked him up forever.
Fucked up anybody.
Like he'll be walking through Gelson's and see like a something that his dad used to like to put on his sandwiches and just start crying. And and he goes, you remind me of my dad, and I'm afraid to get close to you because I look at your lifestyle and I think you're just going to die. And I said, okay. I go, I'm not going to die.
How old are you at this time?
I am probably right around 40, 42.
Okay, not young. All right,
and
Dad.
so I go, how can we fix this? He goes, I don't know. And he goes, I need you to do a lot of things you're not willing to do. I said, like what? And he goes, I need you to get a cardiologist. I need to get, and he starts listing off all these things that
he wants to see that you're not going to die.
He wants to prove that I'm not going to die. I go, listen, I don't care. I go, if you want to, you be in charge of that. And he goes, he literally lit up. He's like, I can get you a cardiologist. I go, you do all of it. Get your cardiologist, all your medical guys, you get them online, you pick them for me, and I'll go, and and he's like, you do that for me? I was like, yeah, I love you. Like, I want you to like me. Like, I want you to be able to have dinner with my family and not be judging me everything I do. Because if I would go to eat something more, he'd lose his mind. If I had another drink, he'd lose his mind. Yes. The biggest problem is I went to the cardiologist. He goes, you're perfect. I did a CT scan. He goes, 0 blockage. And I started eating like a fucking pig. And that's how I got to be 265 pounds, is that I literally...
Because they gave you the green light.
They gave me the green light, put me on all the medicine, and I was like, so I can't die from this?
Oh, who was the Nigerian Nightmare? He was a football player.
I don't know anything
This
about
is my
football.
favorite. The guy's name, if you type in the Nigerian Nightmare, Brian, you'll come up with his name. He was a fucking beast. They took him out of Africa, put him in the backfield for the Chiefs.
And he was nice too, is that
and
what
he
you're
was
gonna
a monster, right? So but he didn't, his English was always...
Christian Okoye.
Okoye. He's huge. He's like fucking 6'6", 350. So I tell him, I go, so we do the interview, and everyone wants to take pictures, and I go, oh, I want one too, but I want one with just me and you shirtless in my green room. And so everyone laughs, and he doesn't laugh. He doesn't get it. He's like, whoa. And I was like, okay. So everyone laughs, we leave. I'm walking to my green room. All of a sudden, he's behind me. And he goes, let's take picture now shirtless in your green room. And I was like, uh-oh. I go, oh, I'm kidding. And then he goes, I got you, funny boy. I was like, I thought I was getting fucking ass raped. I was playing a baseball game, and I got hit in the mouth, and I got 26 teeth knocked out. So my dad, this happened. My dad was my coach, and I was like, my teeth were on home plate. I was catching. My teeth were on home fucking plate. And I was like, oh, and he was like, buddy, take off the catcher gear, go to shortstop. And I was like, what? He was like, well, you got to finish the inning or we're going to lose the game. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he was like, come on, let's go. Man up over on shortstop.
Whoa. He made him finish the fucking game. Like, all his teeth just got knocked out as a child.
My dad is a really great guy. I was like, in 8th grade, I decided I really want to be a basketball player. And so I went to Villanova basketball camp, and Ralph Sampson came to speak. And like the first night, I got a concussion, and the 2 best basketball players got pulled out for drinking. So the next day, I had to sit out with the 2 best basketball players, and everyone thought we drank together. So now all of a sudden, I'm 15, 14, and everyone thinks I'm cool because I'm partying with the 18-year-olds. So Ralph Sampson comes. I thought this defined me. Ralph Sampson comes up to give a speech. He's like, I'm here to talk to you about 2 things. There's 5,000 kids on the gym floor. He said, we're going to talk about basketball, and we're talking about discipline. First, let's talk about discipline. Who in here parties? And I was under the impression we were all going to put our hands up. But I was the only fucking person. I just went, trunk. And he was like, oh, 1 person, 5,000 kids, no one raised their fucking hand. He's like, how do you party? I was fucking 13. I didn't know how to, I never partied in my life. So all I said was Hardy. And he fucking lost it. And 5,000 kids are slapping the gym floor like, oh shit, we're going to make an example out of you, party animal. He's lost the room. So he brings me up front in front of all the kids, and he makes me stand up, and he puts a basketball behind my legs like this, and then one on my arms like this. And he's like, we party hardy. Well, we're going to party hardy today. So I'm standing like this for his whole fucking hour speech with a basketball here and there. And he's like, and he keeps coming back to me. And by the way, I'm so in my head that I have social anxiety disorder, but I'm in front of everyone. And I'm like being made fun. I'm being mocked that I wasn't listening to his question. Somebody's like, you think you'll ever party again? I just said, yeah. And the fucking place went bananas. They're like, oh, and he's like, how do you party hardy? I was like, and I didn't know the answer. I just was like, with 2 hands. Fucking people are losing. You think you do marijuana? And now I'm killing them. Like, I'll get to it in college. And these kids, I left that gym, and everyone wanted to talk to me. Everyone's like, party animal, what are you doing?
And you're still holding the basketball between your legs?
The whole fucking time.
So while you're cracking jokes?
While I'm cracking jokes.
How long did you hold the basketball?
An hour.
That's a long time.
My cousin Abe, I almost brought him here today. I should have. I didn't even think about it. My cousin Abe was there at the camp because he's from Philly. I didn't know anyone. My cousin Abe's like, I didn't know you partied. I go, I don't. I don't. I just thought we'd all put our fucking hands up. And he's like, yeah, why would you put your hands up if you don't party? I was like, I wanted to be cool. So now, and then everyone would come up and they'd be like, party animal, you partying hardy tonight? I'd be like, yeah. But then I became cool at that camp, and then I have friends. And so I wrote that story. It's a little longer, and I gave it to them. I go, this is the best story. This defines me. And they're like, not really.
Dude, I got called into Travel Channel when I got the job. They fired the regime that was in charge that hired me, and then they got a new president. Her name was Lorene Ong. She's a very nice lady. But this is a story that's true, so she wouldn't mind me telling it. She flies me from L.A. to D.C. for an hour meeting. She wants to meet with me for an hour and then fly me home. And I'm like, that seems odd. Uh-huh. I walk into her room, and she's like, your digital footprint leaves something to be desired. She said, I'm to understand that the only thing travel-related you've ever done is rob a train in Russia with the Russian mafia. And
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was like, yeah, that's...
You robbed the train with the Russian mafia?
Yeah, when I was 22.
And you said, who else on your roster has done that?
Yeah, and she was like, I do not want you on this network. I do not think you are fit to be on this network. And I've been there 6 years.
The real coming of age part of my life when my dad looked at me and he was like, buddy, I'm about to shit my pants. What do I do? Here's the fucking worst part of it, right? So I look at him and I go, just shit your pants, Dad. I think you got to shit your pants. I go, shit your pants a little bit and then walk as far as you can and get to your hotel. And he just left my daughters with me, like fucking dropped them and was like,
your pants
I'm fucking out of
bit.
here. And so he started walking down Rodeo or whatever, Burton or one of those roads to get to his hotel, right? So my mom comes up and she's like, where's your dad? And I said, oh, he left me this sweater. I got to buy it for. I ended up buying him the sweater, and I go, he had to shit his pants. She goes, what do you mean he had to shit his pants? I go, he had to shit, so he shit his pants, and then he's walking down the street. I go, I'm sure we can catch him. He's walking slow. And then my wife comes up. She goes, where's your dad? And I go, he shit his pants. She goes, why didn't he just use the bathroom? I said, where's the bathroom? She goes, downstairs. And I went, ooh, I probably should have told him that. And so
you didn't think there was a bathroom there?
I didn't know. I was in panic mode. It was Black Friday, and I'm waiting in line too, and I got a leather jacket on sale. I say this, shitting your pants is a lot like getting a DUI. You roll the dice so much and get away with it that when you do get caught with your hand in a cookie jar, you're like, motherfucker, I never thought that was going to happen. Are you kidding me? I shit my pants. I got a DUI. I do this all the time. Why today?
Oh, that's so true.
So, but in his 30s, he was running marathons, and he used to shit his pants all the time. I'm not even saying like, once a month. I'm talking once a week. I was a kid. We were living in like North Tampa, not in like the nicer North Tampa, but in the shittier redneck versus black North Tampa. And the first time I ever heard the N-word was in this neighborhood. But my dad used to run marathons, so we'd run like 5 miles, 10 miles, and he'd go out. And on these 10-mile runs, he shit his pants. So he'd go into these orange groves, shit himself, right, clean himself the best he could, and then run home. But there were some nights, I remember these distinctly, it was before cell phones, where it'd get dark, and my mom was like, we got to go look for your dad. And we'd be driving his route where he'd run, and all of a sudden, like a naked, half-naked my dad would come out of the fucking orange groves like, I'm here, get me in the car. I remember thunder and lightning, and he's just sitting in an orange grove, naked, like had to shit his pants. And we'd be like, over here, and he'd be like, all right, and he'd just hop in the front seat, go home, let's go. Like real quick. He shit his pants a lot.
Anytime I'm with Tommy, we love gay shit. So like being in San Francisco, 2 fat white guys, we saw a gay couple walking down the street, and one guy's in khakis with a tucked-in shirt. The other guy's in jean shorts, cowboy boots with a python around his neck, and they're holding hands. And
An actual python?
Yeah, an actual python. And Segura looks at me and he goes, if we were gay, which one would you be?
Might be the snake.
I go, we both be the snake, asshole. I go, you think you're the khaki guy? And he goes, I'm definitely the khaki guy. I go, you're not the fucking khaki guy. I'm more khaki guy than you are. And he was like, oh no, you're definitely more snake. Oh.
Like we used to take acid and go to Disneyland all the time.
That sounds awesome.
Really? All the time. Me and my buddy Hutch and my buddy Harper. By the way, my 2 dumbest friends in the world. Harper one time misspelled his name. Happer, 2 P's, no R. I go, hey, Harp, you misspelled your name. He's like, well, it happens. I was like, no, it doesn't. I've never been in a rush like, catch you later, burf. We took acid. We used to take acid and go to Disneyland all the time. And it's
all the time, huh?
All the time. Like, now you look back and you're like, I bet I could use those brain cells. But it's made for acid, right? All the bushes are carved like animals.
It's the happiest place on earth.
There's a big rat walking around. What's your name? But then you're like, oh, look how big his hands are. Like, it's not, man. We lost it bad.
I think going on the rides and stuff like. Oh, you got arrested.
Oh
for
yeah.
it?
Oh, we went on Peter Pan's ride at Never Neverland. Halfway through, Hutch leans over and he's like, real funny. Now give him back. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, you know what I'm talking about. Give him back. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, my feet. You took them. Now give them back. I'm like, bro, I don't have your feet. Disappears into the ride. Gone. Into the ride. Just breaks it. Heads off into the ride. I look next to Harper. He's like crying. I go, what's wrong with you? He's like, they took my shadow too. Yeah, we got put on the back of that golf cart. Handcuffs and everything. You'd be shocked how sober you get when you get arrested.
Yeah.
You probably don't know the comic. His name's Roy Johnson. He's from Tampa, right? So I'm going on Facebook one day and I click on it and the thing, his post is, doctors say it looks like I'll keep my leg. And then now I'm like, what the fuck, right? So I go to his page and I start clicking back older posts to find out like what happened. So I go back like 2 weeks later and it starts like he's at the Dayton Funny Bone and he's like, yeah, so I got a weird bite on my leg last night. Well, I wonder if it's a spider bite. I'm gonna get some calamine lotion. Next day, it's getting worse. The day after that, okay, this is really starting to concern me. The day after that, I'm having a hard time walking, and like you can see it getting worse and worse and worse, and then he ends up in a hospital. He's like, doctors say I'll keep my leg, and I'm like, wow. Fuck.
I went up one night in the store and I was just trying to write.
Yeah.
And I was bombing, and then someone just goes, talk about Anne Frank. in the audience. And then I go, I used to think Helen Keller and Anne Frank were the same person. And it kills, right? But I never knew. I didn't know that was funny. I thought I was an idiot. And then they laugh, and I was like, yeah, I found out the Anne Frank house. They're not. And everyone's like, what? I was like, yeah, you didn't. And I tell the story, and it's very simple. I thought they were like, you want to go to the Anne Frank house? I was like, yeah, we'll get a bag of weed and get high and we'll laugh. And they're like, laugh? I go, yeah, put a plunger in her toilet, chuck it up. And they're like, what? And they're like, I don't think you can go to her bathroom. And they're like, you can see the closet they kept her in. I was like, they kept her in a closet?
Oh, dude.
I swear to God. And they're like, yeah, the Nazis are looking for her. I go, the Nazis? You're telling me, I go, how many times did this chick roll snake eyes? Can't see, can't hear, can't talk, locked in the closet, Nazis are looking for her. And so I tell this on stage. I get off stage and Rogan's like, please tell me that's in your act. I go, no. I was like, dead serious. I go, I'm being dead serious. And he goes, that is the funniest thing. He goes, are you being serious right now? I go, I'm being dead serious. He goes, when did you find out they're not the same person? I go, at the Anne Frank house. We're high as crap. I'm telling Helen Keller jokes. And I'm like, she had a dog, right? And they're like, what? I was like, to my friends, I'm like, oh, he ran away. And they're like, how do you know so much about Anne Frank? I was like, well, you would too if your name was. And this lady goes, are you telling Helen Keller jokes? And I'm like, oh my God. So then I take that story, I tell it on Comedy Central with Ari Shaffir on This Is Not Happening, and then all of a sudden you got a bit. But if you're not willing to fail or get the clap,
my dad is a great man, but he was not prepared to have children.
Whenever you say my dad is a great man, but it's a fucking.
There's like a list of
tongue.
things. There's a list of things that he did as a parent that maybe I wouldn't have done. Like, number one, like, I remember when I was in first grade, I came home, I was real proud. I was like, Dad, I'm the fastest kid in my class. And he was like, well, you're not faster than me. I was like, Dad, I'm pretty fucking fast. I didn't say fucking, but I was like, I'm pretty fast. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. And he goes, let's go outside and race. I said, all right. So we got outside. I pulled my knee socks up to my knees. I get in my little starting position. My dad almost went to the Olympics for track. So we go, and he's like, on your mark, get set, go. And I take off, and I got the lead. And all of a sudden, he blows by me, and he's running backwards. He's like, looks at me, and he goes, you'll never beat me at anything. What? I remember going like fucking first grade, Dad. So when I took a plane flight to Pennsylvania, I remember the catcher for the Yankees, he died in a plane crash. And I remember saying to him, God, I can't believe he died in a plane crash. And my dad goes, yeah. And I go, what was it, like a special plane flight? I was a kid. I'm taking my first plane flight. And he goes, nope, sometimes planes go down. And I was like the one I go on? And he goes, yeah, they go down. I was like, oh, fuck. And then I got on the plane, and we started taking off, and I looked at my dad wasn't on the plane. It was me, my mom, and my sister. And we were taking off. I remember looking at my mom going, we're high enough right now. I don't want to go any higher than this. And then he kept going. He goes, stop going higher. And I started yelling.
How old were you?
Like fucking, probably, I want to say first grade.
Oh,
first grade, I had like a number of traumatic things. I watched a dude light himself on fire.
What?
Yeah, fuck yes. This kid, John. And the crazy part of this is my Uncle John was staying with us. This kid, John, took me and Corky Gaines down the street. It was like a redneck neighborhood. And he goes, you guys want to see a magic trick? We're like, yeah. So he goes, watch this. So he dips a leaf in a butter tub of solution, and then lights it, and it lights on fire. The butter thing is obviously gasoline. And we're like, wow, that's amazing. And he goes, yeah, I can do it again. And so he did it again. And we're like, oh, and he goes, watch this. And he poured a little bit, and he lit it, and then the thing exploded, and it caught him on fire. And he went like, ha! So I go taking off running to my house, and I run into my house screaming, John's on fire! John's on fire! My Uncle John is sleeping on the couch thinking he's on fire. He's like, fuck, I just pissed all over the couch! But I saw that happen, and it fucking traumatized me.
I remember the day I decided I would never fix a chick again. It was a one-night stand, and I came in like 15 seconds. and I told her, I said, hey, I came. And then I was about to say, give me a second, let me reboot, and we'll go back at it. And she was on top of me. She goes, are you fucking kidding me? And she punched the wall. She goes, you got to learn how to fuck. You need to read a book or get online and learn how to fuck. And I gently rolled out of bed, and I was like, I think you need to go home. I was like, wow. I'm not. This isn't happening anymore. And then she was like, excuse me? And I was like, listen, I'm not your boyfriend, and I'm not your fucking husband. And what I just saw, I'm not going to be able to help. And she was like, and then you can see it in her eyes, like, I got to get on a train and go to Brooklyn? She was like, and they started getting pissed. By the way, I'm in my kitchen now in New York. Condom's still on. I go to this is how tapped out I am. I go grab a beer out of the refrigerator, still naked, condom on, start drinking a beer. My roommate Weecho walks out and he's like, what the fuck? I go, I got it handled. Don't worry about it. Walk her to the fucking door. Walk her to the door. And this might be the most beautiful moment of my. Walk her to the door, and she's like, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking like in my face? And she goes, you're pathetic. You're and like tries to humiliate me. And I go, listen, I fucked you and came. I won. And she looks at me and goes like this and goes like this, goes like this. And I flinch so fucking hard. I go, and we both start laughing. And
she started laughing
Oh, we
too?
both start laughing immediately. And then she just smiles and goes, it's 4 a.m. in my apartment building. And she goes, Bert Kreischer can't fuck. And starts banging on doors. I'm like, all right, this is over.
Wow.
Take the charge. Before I fucked her, one night, like I jacked off in front of her. Like not in a Louis way, but like we both masturbated.
Oh, poor Louis.
We both masturbated in front of each other in my apartment. Like we were doing coke and like candles lit and glass of wine. And she's like, I just want to like, and it was cool. It was playful and fun. And we get done and she's like, hey, just so you know, you can't tell anyone about this. And I was like, no, 'cause she knew a bunch of comics in New York. I go, I won't say a soul. I won't tell a soul. She's like, promise? I go, I swear to God. So the next day.
Did you tell everybody?
Nope. So the next day I'm walking to the Boston Comedy Club and Rich Voss is out smoking a cigarette. I go, what's up? And he goes, heard you jacked off in front of Jennifer last night. I was like, what? And he goes, me too. She needed a ride home from Brooklyn one time.
So I take motorcycle riding lessons for. I worked for a network. I work for a network, whatever. So they tell me to take motorcycle lessons. What they tell you when you take motorcycle lessons is, hey, listen, 80% of the fatalities happen due to inebriation for the driver. That's 80% right now. So if you cut that out, you just don't drink and drive. You cut out 80. Your odds are up 80. I'm sure what you're supposed to hear in that is, hey, don't drink and drive. Yeah. What I heard is it must be fucking magical if
everyone keeps doing it.
Yeah. If that's 80%.
Like, well, that sounds like those guys are 80%. This is happening that much.
Those guys are going out doing what they love.
So I ride motorcycles. I ride motorcycles for I rode them to Sturgis, through Montana, through the Talladega National Forest. I rode them in Hawaii. I rode them all over the world. But the whole time I did it all sober. So cut to, I'm in Vietnam. We were in there we were going to do a 6-hour hike into the jungle. It was in the world's biggest cave. You type in the world's biggest cave, Vietnam, you'll see it. It's fucking amazing. Filled with bats. Crazy. Hike through the 6 hours, pit vipers, downhill, uphill, it's like being in an Oliver Stone movie. 6 hours in, spend the night in jungle, 6 hours out. We got Sherpas, we got porters, we got everything. And then we get out of the jungle, we get into this bus, we're soaking wet, we're beat, we had a bad night's sleep, we're tired as fuck. I walked 33,000 steps on my Fitbit both days. We get out, we get to our farm stay, and my Sherpa, I see them all hanging in a circle. I go, hey guys, what's going on? They're smoking hash. Yeah. And they're like, would you like some? I was like, I think I've earned it. So pit vipers, there's snakes, green snakes that are poisonous that wrap around trees. So as you're hiking, when you go to grab a tree, sometimes, didn't happen to any of us, people will grab the snake. So
fuck that shit.
So that is the hike you're on.
No.
So when you get done and they offer you a bowl of hash, you're like, I'll take it.
Yeah, that or a gold emelet.
It is. I take a conservative hit of a highly energetic hash. I feel very good. I then get a big, tall Vietnamese beer. I pound one of those, open my second one, take a second hit of hash, start drinking my second beer. I'm feeling really fucking good. And out of the corner of my eye, I see a motorcycle. And I'm like, if there was ever an opportunity
to ride, yeah. So no DUI laws in Vietnam.
I'm in the middle of nothing but rice paddies. I go to the guy who owns the farm stay. I go, hey man, I noticed you have a motorcycle. Do you mind if I take it for a spin? He goes, have you been smoking hash? I said, I have. And he goes, perfect. You're going to love it. He goes, take Spanish Caravan. Get your headsets. Go up just like 100 yards up into the rice paddies on this dirt road. Take a left through the rice paddies, and it opens up. It's like a little stretch. It's like a quarter of a mile. You can open it up. It's totally safe. It's flat. It's a bridge. It's an earthen bridge that's been there for 100 years. He goes, just listen to Spanish Caravan by the doors and fucking open it up.
This sounds like something I want to go do.
So I take the motorcycle. I go, you have a helmet? And he goes, you don't want one. You don't want one. He goes, let it be. You're out there. And so I get headsets. I get my fucking thing. I go to the thing, hit Spanish Caravan. Tell me if this isn't.
right? I take it, I cut into the 2 rice patties.
Yeah.
I settle, I look at it, the sun's setting, there's oxen on each side, birds are sitting on top of the oxen's head, and I'm like, here we go. I fucking click it down to first gear, fucking hit it, and open it up. Boom, 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 boom. And I start getting like 10 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. And I'm fucking hauling ass, and I'm having the most spiritual moment of my fucking life. I can feel my face splitting earth, splitting time, splitting space. My hair is racing. Oxys are looking at me like, you're a bad motherfucker, Bert Kreischer. The sun's winking at me. I'm like, this is what it's about. This is what life's about. I'm feeling it. This is what love's about. You're vulnerable. All the fun's happening between your legs. And all of a sudden, cut it, my phone rings. And I'm brought back to earth. And I look at it, and it's Joe Rogan. I go, hello? And he goes, powerful Bert Kreischer, what are you doing right now? I go, I'm high as fuck riding motorcycles through rice paddies in Vietnam. And he goes, you're a bad motherfucker. Yeah. He goes, listen to me. These life experiences you have to remember every fucking single part of them. He goes, this is what stand-up's about. Fuck Travel Channel, fuck that. He goes, you go out and you live these things and write about them on stage. Bring them back to life. And I was like, I will. And he goes, I'm not going to take you any more time. So I'm like, okay. So I fucking get off the phone with him, crank it up, Spanish variant comes back in. I'm just... Now I'm turned around and I'm going back, and I see my shadow racing me. My shadow's in front of me, and I'm like this total Peter Pan moment. I really am Peter Pan, and I'm flying. I'm like, fuck yeah! I'm literally holding on thinking if I let go, I'm going to die, and my wife calls. And she immediately is like, what are you doing? I was like, it works so well with Joe.
Yeah. He was so supportive of this idea. Yeah. So he goes, everyone in the world understands why this is a fantastic thing to do.
I go, I'm high as fuck riding motorcycles and race paddies in Vietnam. She goes, get the fuck off the bike. She's like, you're not the machine. You're a father of 2. You have high blood pressure. Go home. And I just fucking walked him home. I walked the bike home.
What happened to a man enjoying life? He's better half call. Tell him to stop.
Joe Rogan gives you this most spiritual answer. He goes, these are the moments where you open up your soul and you find out the true makings of a man. And your wife's like, moron! Get off the bike, you idiot! 85% of people die like this. He was like, for the first...
This is how people die! You know the statistics!
It's the most reason people die.
It's the 80 percentile.
This is how you're gonna die. You're not like a condom in Haiti. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, fuck.
The best part is that night, I go back to the farm stay. I get the bike back. He's like, did you fall? I was like, no, my wife called. And then I couldn't like crank it back up. My energy was kind of zapped. She's like, we have an IEP meeting with Ila's teachers tomorrow. You've got to fly from Vietnam to LA. So I get into bed. And the fucking owner of the this is, I swear to God, true. Owner of farm stay. I'm in bed. He comes into my room at like 2 a.m. 2 a.m. He opens my door. He's like, hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm like, I'm okay.
Sits at the foot of your bed.
Yeah, he's in my room. He's in my fucking room. And I'm like, is everything okay?
You having a bad dream, buddy?
He's like, I know you kind of bummed out about the wife phone call and everything. I thought you could use this. And he leans over to my bed and he hands me a puppy.
What?
I swear to fucking God.
An emotional pet?
He goes, no, a puppy.
No, I'm saying something to make you feel better.
He's like, I thought you could use this to cuddle with. And I was like, fuck, thank you. And I cuddled with the puppy.
I worked with the bear it was a movie bear.
Yeah.
So it was like the bear that fucking fought Will Ferrell in the movie Semi-Pro. There's only like 4 bears you can work with. It's like fucking black actresses.
So you worked with this murderer bear.
Wait, that was a really good joke. We're going to pass by.
That was pretty good. I'm sorry.
I mean, I get there and the trainer's like, this is how we'll do it. Take these, and he hands me 5 marshmallows. He goes, when the bear's not looking, take a marshmallow and put it in your mouth. And then casually walk in front of the bear and show him the marshmallow like, oh, and allow the bear the opportunity to engage you and take the marshmallow out of your mouth with his mouth. This way he'll learn to trust you. And I'm like, fuck that. Wow. Like, who needs that trust? What am I borrowing money from him?
Oh my God.
But you don't know any better. At the time, I'm 28 years old, maybe 29.
Oh my God.
And I did it, and then he goes, all right, we're ready.
What the fuck was that like when that bear tongued you?
I felt like you were making out with a homeless person. Like just fucking bare lips look like a 17-foot woman's vagina, just going ear to ear on you, just
And his giant teeth and his giant head.
and just tongue right behind the
Now,
marshmallow
what is
to
it
suck it
like
out.
knowing that bear went and killed somebody after that?
I don't know. I think it's probably like the guys who missed their flight on 9/11. Like you don't think about it. You don't go like, because I didn't die, so I'm like,
you're the appetizer.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
But yeah, it's the. I mean, the entire experience was like terrifying. We ended up fighting, and then they go, so look, if you're in trouble, just say marshmallow, because then that's your safe word, and we'll get you out.
Marshmallow.
Yeah, and so that fucking beginning of the fight, I'm like, fucking marshmallow, marshmallow, and the bear's just throwing me around. I'm like, marshmallow, and then the bear put my face in his chest, and I couldn't breathe, and then he spun me doggy style and fucking had me in a bear hug where you're like helpless, and then I just started looking at the crew and the trainer, and I'm like, marshmallow, get me the fuck out of here, marshmallow, and the trainer's like, go limp. I'm like, please be talking to me right now. And not the bear. There's a bear cock climbing up my jeans. Just marshmallow. But yeah, that's technically how it went down.
So they didn't save you?
No, I went limp and slid out at the bear. And then the bear ended up sitting on my face. And then my wife, they put a marshmallow in her mouth, and the bear got off, and then they pulled me away.
Oh my God!
Is that online?
Your wife, you let your wife get kissed in the bear.
I didn't.
After he was still worked up like that.
Oh,
I would never do that.
She did it. And then
Wow,
I went in
she's
and
crazy.
tamed lions that day. Tamed 4 lions.
Dude.
Fucking washed an elephant. I mean, literally.
Wow.
Bert was probably the greatest show no one ever saw. I met Leanne, and we dated for a little bit. I didn't want to put a label on it, and then she dumped me. And then when she dumped me, I fought to get her back. I made her a mixtape. I went to an AA meeting. Dude, I go to this AA meeting, and they're like, and I'm with this guy, I guess I shouldn't say his name, but he's like, you should stand up and talk. And I was like, I was just lost, man. I wanted this chick back. I go, well, I don't know if I feel comfortable talking. I haven't really made any decisions about what I'm doing with my life. I'm just trying to like get this chick back and see if I have a problem. Because the reason we broke up is I gotten drunk at a dinner party, and I just argued with her friend, and I wouldn't let it go. And so
I could see that.
He goes, yeah, just talk. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk. And part of me as a comic, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get up and say, I'm in a little stage time isn't bad. Guy in front of me goes,
a little stage time. I love it though.
I go to stand up, right? And then the guy in front of me stands up, and he goes, do you mind if I go? And I was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. He stands up, and he goes, hi, my name's Dave or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm an alcoholic. And everyone's like, hi, Dave. He's like, it's been a rough day. Oh, this morning my landlord came over and I sucked his dick and then I lit his car on fire.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I can't follow that.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't.
You have to let somebody else go and then go.
I can't go right after that.
Right,
so I
yeah.
didn't say anything. I didn't get up.
Wow.
And I left and I was like, I don't know if that's for me. I was like, I really don't feel like I have a drinking problem. I really don't feel like, by going, I need to stay sober for a while and get my head straight if I'm going to be single. I need to figure out what I'm doing with my life. And I had a moment that I spoke to God, and God said, if you want her back, you just got to promise that she's the one and you won't fuck it up. I swear to God, I spoke to God, and I was like,
believe you.
And I was like, I'll never fuck this up. Just give her to me, and I will never fuck it up. I'll marry her, and this will be my chick. This is the one for me. He's like, I remember him saying in my head to me, remember what you just said. I got home and she was in my bedroom on my bed and she was in a sundress and she goes, I think we need to figure out how to work this out.
What was she doing in there?
She had just gone to church. She'd gone to a church down in Compton because she's Baptist and she couldn't find one up here. And she'd gone to a church in Compton and in church, someone had said to her in her head, you need to get this guy's a good guy. He needs a second chance.
Wow.
And so then we hung out. We had a great time. Didn't party for like 6 months. Didn't drink for like 6 months. And then one day we're in Italy. It's New Year's Eve and it's snowing. We're in Venice. It just starts snowing.
I'd fuck you there. That sounds beautiful.
And I said to her, I said, I got to be honest with you. This is when I want to drink. I go, I just feel like I want to drink. And she goes, honey, I don't think you have a drinking problem. Have a drink.
Wow.
And we split a bottle of wine, went out in the snow in St. Mark's. It was empty. It was fucking empty. It was like the day after New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Town is shut down. And it was just starting to snow. It was like perfect snow everywhere. Oh, it was fucking great. And so, yeah, I've been with her ever since. We were in Maui, and I got to fly to D.C. that afternoon, like at 2. So I'm leaving at noon. So I wake up. I'm in bed with Ila, and I roll over, and I go, hey, baby, it's like 6 a.m. Sun's coming up. I go, baby, let's go downstairs, get a coffee, and I'll get you a donut, and we'll go down, and we'll watch the sunrise, then we'll go snorkeling before anyone wakes up. And she goes, leave me alone. So I go, Ila.
And now I'm like,
Oh, no.
Now I'm rolled over and I got my head in her hip, like right between her hip and her ribs. I go, baby, wake up. Me and you go downstairs, get a coffee, get a donut, chocolate milk. We'll watch the sun come up, and then we'll go snorkeling. And Joey, I swear to you, she rolls over, looks at me, and she goes, "You're tugging on a tiger's tail," and went back to bed.
Tugging on a tiger's tail.
You're tugging on a tiger's tail.
And she went right back to bed.
Yeah, and she says to us like that when you fuck with her. She starts going, "You're pushing a lot of buttons. One of them's going to be red." And you're like,
what?
I know. A dude, her brain just sees the world very differently. They were trying to do Yo Mama jokes, and her rendition of Yo Mama jokes were so esoteric they didn't make sense anymore. Yo Mama's so poor, she has nuts in her purse every now and then because she wants to snack. And you're like, what? But her brain just, it spins out on her Santa Claus list maybe like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. One was, I want a Polly Pocket. I want La Loopsies. I want Barbie camper. And then one of them was, I'm not even fucking with you. Mind you, Joey, she was 6 years old. She wrote, "I want proof that your gang is real." And then she took a fucking GoPro last Christmas and hid it on the mantle and started it. She was trying to catch Santa Claus. So I go in, I see it. It's fucking blinking red light in the middle of our living room. So I go in, I put everyone to bed. I have the video on my computer. I won't post it until they don't believe in Santa. I go into my bedroom. I go to sleep. I don't go to sleep. I just sit there for like fucking 5 minutes. Lights out. Everyone waits. I just walk right back in. I have a white mitten on. I have the bells in my hand. I have a flashlight in my hand. I get underneath by the fireplace. I jump down and jingle the bells. Right. I flash the flashlight around. Priscilla doesn't move. She just sees it's me. Just stares. Puts her head back down. I reach my hand up with the mitten. I grab the GoPro. I turn it around, and then I turn on the lights, and I start walking around with bells and moving presents around. Then I take that and then I let it play all fucking night long. I then take that video, and I simply splice out me walking in the room on iMovie. I have fucking 40 minutes of video. I splice out me walking in the room, and then it just looks like the room just sat still. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Santa shows up at the end. And then the next day I go, "Guys, the GoPro's dead." And Ila's like, Dad, we got Santa. So now mind you, I've done all the fucking work already. It took 2 seconds. You know how easy it is to splice out me walking into the room and getting under the thing. And I just take it and I fucking let it play out for the whole 30 minutes. Like 30, 45 minutes. I let it watch the whole thing and they're like, "I don't see it. Fast forward. I'm like, all right, I'm fast forwarding. All of a sudden they see Santa and Ila's like, holy shit. They see the glove come up. They see it turn around. And Georgia starts looking at me like, mind you, this is, I thought she'd stop believing. She started looking at me like she found Jesus. Like, holy shit, like Santa's fucking real. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you guys. My dad looks at me, he's like, "I think you're fucking your kids up." 4 a.m. the other night, my doorbell rang. In the middle of the night. I'm home. The one night I'm home in the week, the doorbell rings. Both girls are in bed with me, and Leanne's in the girls' room. And I start panicking, thinking, this is how it goes down. They ring the doorbell. You go to the door. You turn off the alarm. You open the door. That's what a sucker would do. Not me, because I'm already 5 steps ahead of them. So I take the girls in the bedroom with Leanne. I go, "Everyone out the fucking window. I'm going to stop whatever's happening, but you guys out the window, out the back door. Go to the corner of Laurel Canyon." And
what? This is before you even go to the door?
Before I go to the fucking door. Because I'm like, doorbell at 4 in the morning?
Just get a gun.
A doorbell at 4. We have a gun. But the doorbell at 4 in the morning, what the there's no good is coming out of that. Right. There's nothing good. No one's like, "Hey, I broke down." We live in a fucking busy intersection like we're a block away. Yeah. Like, so I just I start panicking. Leanne, as I'm talking to Leanne, I hear the doorbell go again. And I'm like, and now I'm like, you ever get like where your asshole just goes wide, like wide open, like, "Oh," and you're like, "Oh, fuck." And I go, "Do you hear it?" And she goes, "It's the girls' music. The girls' music's playing. That's not the doorbell. It's the music." So I'm like, okay, so it wasn't the fucking doorbell. But then I thought to myself,
but then, so I'm not crazy.
So then I'm like, fuck it. I want a beast in my house that is willing to give its life for my family.
Yeah.
I've got a scar on the top of one of my ears. It's on one of them from my mom cutting my ear, the top off. And I was like, "Oh," yeah. She's like, I'm sorry. I was thinking of something else." I had the worst haircut experience ever. My wife, who we were dating 4 months, and she dumped me. She was no. Yeah, she said,
I think you have a drinking problem, and
Fair
dumped
point.
me. Fair point. Fair point.
That's
By the way,
play me, lady.
married that woman, been
Fair
with her
play.
14 years, still partying hard as fuck.
That's a wake-up call.
Still party hard as fuck.
It's a wait. Okay, so I have that in my head. I get my barber. I won't say his name. He's a hairstylist. He used to do Dave Navarro, Ozzy Osbourne. He is to the stars.
Damn.
It was hard to get appointment. He lived in like San Francisco, and he'd fly down once a month.
Damn.
Dude, this guy was great. He had this whole place, but he would come in, and his haircuts were expensive, like $120. And so I met this guy, and I trusted the way he cut my hair. Went through a 12-step program with Dave Navarro. Like he used to party, right? He used to really party.
Yeah.
Party? Yeah, to say the least. Babe.
Like his problem.
He's got a nice body. I used to see him change at Crunch. He'd take his shirt off with his pierced nipple. He's got a beautiful
Dave
body.
Navarro's
Did you ever
bodied
see
up.
him? Did you ever see him work out in that hyperbaric chamber that was off to the left?
No, but he would kick the bag and do karate, and he talked about his master. He's
So
a
he's
taekwondo
bodied
guy.
up.
Yeah,
Heard he
yeah.
got the dick on him too.
I've seen him.
does.
I've seen him in the steam room.
True.
And I could not stop staring at it.
Oh,
it was because
he
it's
gets a-
tattoos all around it. It's drawing you into it.
So he's got a dick.
Oh, he's got a fucking.
And you know he keeps that fucking bush well manicured, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's got not a stitch of hair on there. He went baby.
I
He
like
went
that
baby
guy.
shear.
He's great.
He wears eyeliner or whatever.
Yeah.
He's a rock star.
So I go in. I realize the day after I've been dumped that I have a haircut, and I call up and I go, I'm gonna have to push it, and they're like, he's not coming back for like another month and a half. So I wouldn't push it. So I go, fuck it, I'll go in. This is how cool this guy. They used to have a pool table in there. I walk in. He gives me a big hug. He goes, man, you looking down? And I go, my chick dumped me because she says I drink too much. He goes, man, this is my expertise. I mean, I'm really dialed in for this. He goes, come back. We go back to the bar, and he cracks 2 beers, right? And he goes, hey, man, I started partying again. I go, really? And he goes, yeah. So I know what you're going through. He goes, hey, how many people told you have a drinking problem? I go, her and her best friend, that's it. He goes, that's it. I go, yeah. And he goes, are you sure? I said, yeah. And he goes, okay, here's my rule. If one person tells you have a tail, fuck them. They're crazy. If 2 people tell you have a tail, they're teaming up on you. But if 3 people tell you have a tail, that's when you need to turn around.
That is the greatest
great advice
I've ever heard.
And then he says, you want to smoke some weed?
This guy's awesome.
This guy's great. So I go, yeah. And he goes, I can't let anyone in here know that I'm partying like this. They know that I had a beer the other night. Let's go into the bathroom. We go into the bathroom. We get high. He comes out and he's like, man, nothing cheers you up like a great haircut. And I'm looking you up, man. And he pulls out a razor blade and starts cutting my hair with a thumb and a razor blade.
What?
He proceeds to give me a mullet and cut my bangs to like, do you remember Tropic Thunder?
Yes.
The guy that went full retard?
Yes.
He cuts him up to there.
You can't tell the Tracy Morgan story.
I can
you?
tell it, yeah.
You can tell it?
Of course I can
Please
tell it.
tell the Tracy Morgan story.
Okay.
And we're going to end on this.
Cracks 2 more beers. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I wish you would stay sober for this haircut. I get done the haircut, and he's like, I got another guy coming over. I'm going to go meet him back at the bar. Hey, man, I'll see you in a month and a half. And I was like, I'll never go to you again.
Ever.
You can't tell the Tracy Morgan story.
I can tell it, yeah.
You can tell it?
Of course I can
Please
tell it.
tell the Tracy Morgan story.
Okay.
And we're going to end on this.
So I was a young comic working in at the Boston Comedy Club, working the door
In New York.
In New York,
In
And
the
I used-
Village.
Yeah, and I used to party with all the black comics because because I don't.
Why
Cause,
would you like to?
Yeah, and so we used to have a good time, and so then. One night, Tracy Morgan comes in. This is when he's starting to get back into stand-up after SNL. So, like, when you were a young comic and a new celebrity came in, you, like, had to see that shit. Had to. So I go in, and I watch Tracy's set, and it is not... We have nothing in common. He's doing observational material, and his observational material is like, all right, yeah, okay. Who remembers finger fucking by the handball courts? and I'm just like, and he thinks that's a shared experience, like losing a sock in the dryer.
Right.
But like everyone else, and then he walks you through it. He's like, you put that bitch up against the wall and just pussy pop that bitch. Wouldn't even kiss her. Put your arm in your own stank. And now you have a visualization of like Precious getting boxed out at a handball court, making eye contact with passerby, just getting her pussy blown out by Tracy Morgan.
Oh, God.
So, but then he comes on stage and he's like, fucking, yeah, I'll hit that, man. I got this new bit about my dick being so pretty you can suck it with the lights on. Like, which is a genius statement because I've never had a blowjob in the light, but he just didn't word it right? So
my dick is so pretty you can suck it with the lights on.
Yes. So he goes, So then he goes, hey, you want to get high? And I was like, yeah. And because I'm a grown up. And so we walk around the corner and he pulls out this wreck of a joint, hands it to me, hits it, gives it to me. I hit it and it tastes like shit. It tastes like sweat socks. Like just like, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, oh, you never smoked Sherm before? And I was like, what? And he's like, Sherm, baby. Angel dust, PCP. You never smoked Sherm before? And I'm like, you just gave me fucking PCP? Like, how did you know? Who ever taught you how to get high? Like,
oh my God.
So I panic bad, like hardcore anxiety attack. I go back to the club. I go to this older black comic who was and still is one of my good friends. And I go, hey man, Tracy just gave me PCP. He's like, oh, let me tell you something, shorty. Tracy doesn't smoke PCP. He's fucking with you. I was like, what? He's like, he's just smoking pot. He's fucking with you though. He's just getting in your head. And I was like, no, I smoke PCP. I'm feeling weird. And he goes, whatever you do, shorty, don't go to your house. You hang out with us tonight. So I'm like, all right. So I do my set. I bomb. We all go out. And Tracy is in downtown Soho, like right on Houston, right? And he's in a club that is like one of those railroad clubs where it goes all the way back. You have to like walk down a flight of 5 stairs to get to, and he's in the back. He's been there like 20 minutes, and he is holding court with his shirt off, okay? Shirt off, bottles of champagne covering his table. There's other tables that have champagne on it. He's buying it for them. I buy her a bottle of champagne right now. I got a pretty dick. Like just Eddie Murphy gave me this. Whatever the fuck he's saying is like loud and boisterous. So I sit at the table and I think I'm on PCP, and I start ordering Heinekens separately from this wreck of a bar tab he has. And so I'm getting Heinekens, and then the whole night goes through. It's kind of an interesting, bizarre experience. But like 2 o'clock in the morning, and Tracy and the waitress comes up. She's got the bill, and she puts it in front of me because I'm at a table with all black dudes. So she thinks I'm their agent or lawyer or coach, whatever I am. So she gives me the bill, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, I can't. And Tracy Morgan flips out, and he goes, oh, what the fuck is that? That's fucking racism. You give it to him, he works the goddamn door. He doesn't do, ain't don't make any money. I'm the rich motherfucker in here. I'm on TV. I'm the rich motherfucker. And he flips the bottle of champagne table upside down. Now the woman's like, sir. And he goes, hey, and he takes his shirt and throws it in her face. A bouncer comes up and he's like, excuse me, sir. And Tracy just wham, lays the guy. And the biggest fight I've ever been in just breaks out all over. People are fighting, jumping on, and I think I'm on PCP. So I walk out on Houston and I start going, this isn't happening. This is imaginary. This is not real. People are flooding out left and right. And they're like, dude, that shit's going off. Tracy's got like 4 dudes on him. And I was like, holy shit. A minute later, the doors kick open and Tracy Morgan is launched out of the club by the back of his neck and the seat of his pants, just up onto the street.
They put his shirt on him?
No, up on the street, shirtless, laying at my feet on the sidewalk. Doors close. Second later, doors kick back open, and Tracy's shirt comes out end over end and lands on his head, and it's silent. And we're looking at Tracy like, fuck, this is crazy. All of a sudden, he looks up, stands up, takes his shirt, snaps it, and he goes, now that's how you get out of paying a check. This guy's crazy like a fox. He's the he fucking just walked out on a $6,000 bar tab.
Holy shit.
Getting kicked out of the bar. Dude, here's the thing. I only met Tracy once. That was
That's a fucking fantastic story, dude. That was one of the funniest stories ever.
Next time I'll tell you about when I was in the Russian mob and we robbed a train.
Really?
It's a true story, but I'm not going to tell it now.
Tell us what the fuck happened.
All right. This is in 1993, probably, I think, is when I went to Russia.
I signed up for a Russian class, think it was Spanish, and next thing you know, I'm in a Russian class. The teacher was like,
you don't have to do anything all semester, and I'll just give you a C. I was like, Strasvutia, bitches, I'm back. So I took Russian. I took Russian 1, 2, and 3 because these kids needed another guy in their class to take these classes. So then finally I take Russian 4 and we go to Russia.
This is when the mob ran everything, and they told us that our very first night. They sat the whole class down. They're like, listen, we have paid off the Mafia to keep you safe. In exchange for our money, they give us 2 young gangsters.
Their names were Igor and Sasha. And when we got there, our teacher was like, listen, this is Igor and Sasha. They will be ghosting us. But my teacher, who was there with me, was like, they're in the fucking mob.
And they were my neighbors. So the first night I grabbed a bottle of vodka and a 6-pack of Baltic, which is their beer. And I meant to say a sentence, but what I came out of my mouth when the door opened and I'm faced with a gangster, all I said was,
I am the machine.
What is it? How do you say that?
Yamashino. And so, but I just said Yamashino. And he went, huh, Stoll?
And he started laughing. He goes, what did you say? I was like, I'm the machine. He grabs me and he goes, come in and tell my friends. Brings me in a room full of 9 Russian gangsters drinking and smoking and just goes, stop. Tell them what you said. Now I'm like, fuck it. I'm the machine. And then we partied. We became best friends. Cut to, whole class takes an overnight train trip to Moscow. We get 2 new gangsters, right?
Igor and Igor. And
What? Double
I
Igors.
swear to you.
They take me to first class and we start boozing hard. They're like, I can't wait to play with the machine.
Right.
The conductor comes in. He's like, this is a present for the machine.
Rips off the band on his thing, says, this is a present for the machine. It would be an honor to do a shot with you. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking right. So I do a shot with the conductor, and we pound this vodka within like fucking 30, 45 minutes. We're done all the vodka in the room.
Big Igor's like, machine, we go to the bar cart to get more vodka. I'm like, I'm in the mob. I'll do whatever I want.
Igor looks at me, and in Russian, he says, machine, go behind the bar and grab bread. In Russian. And I understood him. For a second, I'm like, I'm fucking learning. Not through textbooks. I'm learning it my way by joining the Mafia.
Right.
I'm behind the bar like, Igor, I know what you said. He's like, grab bread. And I'm like, grab cheese, sir. I'm like, grab vodka. I already know that one. He's like, grab the money. I'm like, huh?
I look around, and we're robbing the bar cart.
What?
The bartender's standing like this, everyone's standing against the wall, and I'm sitting behind the bar with a handful of rubles, a bottle of vodka, and a thing of bread going, holy fuck.
Grab the stuff, go back to our first class cabin. English teacher, not a Russian teacher, English teacher comes in, doesn't know Russian, to our first class cabin, opens the door with that like liberal arts confidence. Mm-hmm. She's like,
I told you that you're in big trouble. Your classmates have told me what happened. Big Igor takes a sip of vodka, spits in her eyes, and goes, no one talks to the machine like that. I'm like,
whoa, he spit vodka in her eyes?
And fucking it is. And then shuts the door and then looks at me and he says, don't worry, I got you.
Reaches in his pocket, pulls out a ring of keys, and he goes, we're robbing the whole fucking train.
So we robbed him. We robbed the whole train.
What?
We robbed the whole train, pulled into Moscow, 6 a.m., hammered, wasted, right? Train stops, sun's up, door opens, same teacher, not mad. Smiles at me and goes,
I'm just letting you know we've called the police. So I was like, fuck. So Igor and Igor are like, fuck it, don't worry, fuck the police, this is Russia. Who the fuck does she think she is? This isn't America, this is Russia. We run everything. I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna fucking go to the gulag.
And I see 2 cops talking to my whole class. They're upset, they've been robbed, I get it.
Igor goes, don't worry, machine, I talked to police for both of us. Goes out to the cop, he's taking a statement, grabs him by the arm, spins him around, and starts yelling,
I don't even know what they're saying, but they're just shouting, and the cops are shouting back. And then finally, Big Igor just starts pointing at me. And I'm like, oh, he's pinning this whole fucking thing on me? Like, I'm going down for the whole thing?
Now the cop is just staring at me, and I hear him bark out, Payum, Zidye, which I don't even know what that means, but it doesn't sound like, you're okay, stay there.
I walk to the cop, who's standing in front of the class I just robbed. Next to the gangster I robbed them with. He grabs me by the arm, spins me away from my class, away from Igor, gets right in my face and goes,
I understand you're the machine. I was like, yeah. And he goes, tonight you party with us. I was like,
what?
All right. So then we went out and partied with these cops.
So the cops did nothing?
Fucking nothing. They were so excited to meet the machine.
Dude, I feel like that was a book on tape.
That was pretty good, actually. That was pretty good.
I hated it so much. I hated the last few minutes you've been alive and talking so much.
Oh my God.
Stop talking.
0 damage.